The Rude Awakening Tour Podcast.
Seats, Spark, seats.
We were all together at the start. Now we're sitting down, a little more polished.
Yeah.
Or not so much polished,
Yeah.
but we're learning. So, yeah, welcome back.
Yeah. Thanks.
That was a very long welcome, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So great to have you back, Scott. And so, tell me, where are you from?
I grew up right here in Maple Ridge.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, so you're from Maple Ridge, and you're back in Maple Ridge, Mission.
Mission
right?
now. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. And tell me a bit about your time in the military. So when did you get in? You joined out here, I take it?
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of my friends were, figuring out what they wanted to do, and I was still kind of being a shithead and running around doing stuff I wasn't raised to do. So it basically, it was a very good option for me. And that was pre 9/11, but 2001. So I went down to West Pender, Vancouver, and signed up. And I think it was June, maybe July. And it was basically the next day, I think, pretty much I was gone.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Huh.
After swearing in, it was the next day I was gone and off to Quebec.
Yeah. So you went to Saint Jean?
Yeah.
Richelieu?
Yeah.
What year was that?
2001.
2001,
Yeah. Basically finished basic training, went to Wainwright for battle school, and while we were waiting for another course to finish basic, we were just kind of sat on Pat Platoon, so they had enough people for a course. And you want to make sure people know why you were at Pat Platoon, right?
Yeah.
Not one of those guys. Not one of those guys. So they, basically, while we waited for a course to start, 9/11 happened. And
Oh, no way.
yeah.
That would have been quite surreal, kind of.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everyone was just kind of, Bosnia was still going on, but it was dying out and stuff. So
Was that your basic training?
well, I was in Pat Platoon in Wainwright waiting for.
In Wainwright.
waiting
then.
for battle.
Yeah.
school,
Okay. Yeah.
So then, like the 3rd Battalion, they were the first to get sent, right, on that tour.
Yeah.
So they, which was weird because we were watching them do a little bit of build up there, and then during that time I would have never thought, but I went to that battalion after battle school, and then was sent on that tour as a battlefield replacement.
Huh.
So I don't even think I was in a year, and I was overseas.
No way. And to say, you were
Maybe or just over a year.
You were in Wainwright waiting training while 9/11 happens, and then next thing you know, you're a replacement for the tour where those guys deployed. Then
Yeah.
Right.
I already knew like who Osama bin Laden was prior to all of the 9/11 stuff. I kind of, if I'm going to be doing something, I read into stuff and all that, and I stumbled upon something and maybe an article somewhere, and
Oh, no way.
I knew who he was, and I pretty much thought that's who was involved in that one. So yeah.
Cool. And then so you got posted to the 3rd from battle school,
Yeah.
but the rest of your guys all went to Calgary.
They asked, so the whole course was slotted to go to the 1st Battalion.
Yeah.
Like all of the instructors were 1st Battalion, with the exception of the course warrant, who was like posted in Wainwright, and he was former 3rd Battalion. So I guess they needed some people for rear party, and they asked for, kind of 10 volunteers to go, and they got exactly 10 volunteers. Like, yeah. So it was all of us that had the same aspirations, wanted to jump. 2 of them already had their jump wings from cadets.
Oh, no way. Yeah.
And that's kind of what we wanted. We didn't want not to knock on the labs or whatever, but that wasn't really what we were looking for. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It's kind of interesting. Say when I finished my battle school, all the guys that my whole platoon ended up going to Victoria to the 3rd Battalion, and then I put in to go to the 1st. For my mom was close to was actually out by Camrose, so was close to Wainwright, close to Calgary. So I ended up asking to go to Calgary. So I never got a part of the Hollywood Battalion. I got to be part of the 3rd when they were real soldiers.
Oh yeah.
Eh? When we rocked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you were on tour in 2002 then?
Yeah. 02, 05, and 07.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How soon did it take for you to get overseas then to replace?
Well, like I was pretty much sent at the end. So, I mean, like a lot of guys were kind of like, what are you doing here? Like, but I guess at that time they didn't really know for sure that they were coming home or what. But they kind of I thought we were winding down or whatever. But
Yeah.
I managed to still go out on a air assault mission, like with the Americans there, and I got to go do some of the patrols and in the Hummers around like the local area and all that. So, I got they were good about letting me get out there and get some experience or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
like, so when did you arrive on the ground? Like in
it was in the summer.
May, June, July?
Yeah, it was in the summer. I don't recall.
Yeah.
I'm pretty bad with dates and everything these days.
No, I was just curious, just saying, due to the fact, say, then when you deployed to Afghanistan, you had to take an anti-malaria drug.
Yep.
It's got to build up in your system for so long before you deploy. And that's kind of why then later they come up with the different loading doses in order. So say if you were a battlefield replacement, they could get you over there quicker.
I did a loading dose in 02, and I do recall that. There was a package, a set package set aside that I was to take first, and then move on to this next one, and it was different dose.
Yeah.
Different amounts.
Yeah. And what did you take in Afghanistan in 02?
I took mefloquine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then in 05 I took another type. I can't recall what it was called.
Was that the Primaquine? Or which one were you saying?
I think it was. I believe it was.
The other one, like Malarone or doxycycline.
I feel like it was Primaquine.
Yeah. Because I think we talked about it before, and I think that's what you had mentioned.
Yeah, that one rings a bell.
I
mean, I would, to say for sure, I'd actually have to look it up, right? But I'm pretty sure that's what I took on the second one in 05. Just because I don't know. I just figured we'd give it a shot, and
try something different.
Yeah. And then in 07, it was back to
Mefloquine.
Yeah. I tried to do Primaquine again, and I was the only one that was asking for it. Everyone was just kind of like whatever, and then my warrant was like, they said nope, then you're just gonna have to take this. So I said okay.
Yeah.
Then I just stopped taking it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. On that tour, I just said, fuck it.
In 05, 06, or was it 05, 06 you said? Or what year did you go?
07 was the last one there. Where
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the one before that?
05.
That was 05?
Yeah.
Was that with Recce Platoon or?
No,
or guys from
the.
Was that the tour? Did you go to Kabul?
Yeah, so there was the PRT guys that were there, I believe. The provincial reconstruction, right?
Yeah.
So those guys were there, and then they were shutting down the Kabul base, and the guys that were doing security on that camp were like RCR, and then it was like the Dragoons, and they were shuttling equipment off of that base into Kandahar, and they were doing convoy security. They were just kind of getting burnt out. So my platoon got tasked with heading out there to take over the camp security there, and while it shut down. So we went there for that. And
into Camp was that Camp Julian?
I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not. I never
Wasn't
went
it-
there, but
Yeah. Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah.
That sounds familiar, but
yeah.
yeah.
Because so then our tours kind of overlapped.
Yeah, we ran into those guys like you.
Because I
in
was with the
Dubai and
PRT.
stuff.
I was with the PRT in Kandahar City,
Yep.
and then when they were hauling the stuff back and forth from Kabul, that's when one of the labs rolled over, and the driver was killed, and we had to go out and do security, or did security, or the guys responded. We came out a little bit later because then they were trying to do the recovery of the lav. So the recovery of the lav took like, I don't know, 15 or 18 hours. Trying to get it loaded onto a flat deck. So, and then doing the security. That happened like, I think it was like maybe 50 Ks out of Kandahar City or something maybe. Yeah. Kind of, say we know each other, but yet, or didn't realize, I didn't realize you were there then
Yeah.
when I was on my tour.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because at that time, then I think it was just the PRT in southern Afghanistan. We took over from the Americans and that, but yeah. And then your '07 tour, that was with...
We were attached to one of the RCRs out of Gagetown there. I don't recall what battalion it was. So the pair company out of 3VP, we were attached to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where I think at the start, there wasn't so many, say, cross loading, right? It would be a full PPCLI battle group,
Yep.
wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
Like, say, like from 2002 to whatever, do you think it was mostly...
I think that might have been
Yeah.
one of the first times they kind of started doing that, to be
Yeah,
honest with you.
I'm just thinking...
Because I remember like the first battalion had their tour.
Yeah.
And they were augmented with reserves or whatever, but I don't think they had.
Yeah,
kinda-
I think the numbers were dropping for who they could send, right? I think.
Yeah, and then like we were sending guys then afterwards too, right? Like shortly after I got back, there was a crew already doing build-up training, like Chuck and Aaron Doyle and all those guys, right?
Yeah.
So they were going over with someone. I don't recall who.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't either.
I got out while they were overseas. So
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Did you get out just after tour, or you? Got out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was done. I was angry, and there was a lot going on with me, and I just couldn't even. I hated the structure and the, following the fucking law or rules just because that's what you're supposed to do, and it's stupid. Like
Yeah.
you're like fucking painting rocks kind of thing. Like.
Yep.
You couldn't undress your fucking your pants because it looked sloppy or whatever, but you're trying to ventilate while on patrol in the desert. Shit like that. I just fucking tired of it.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you. I got so sick and tired of it. And all the bullshit and the fucking bollocking by certain higher ups to get ahead and shit like that. And, we were fighting an insurgency, and I was fucking pretty pissed off about that because, the only way to really fight one of those is to fight one back, right? And we're held by laws and rules that you can't, and all that kind of shit, and just all kinds of stuff. And we had it bad. We lost the most in the whole battle group, and we were the fucking, the bastard childs of the fucking CO of the RCR we were attached to, and I was fucking done. And it was very apparent to lots of people, I'm sure, that this guy's done. Like I didn't fucking hide it, and my mouth was always beaking off and just full of anger, and it was just time to move on.
Yeah.
Like I shouldn't have been teaching on that course that we were on, and I know you said you felt kind of differently, but I feel like I shouldn't have. Like I don't want to throw shade on anyone, so I'll not use names and stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, I wasn't in the right mindset to be properly, dealing with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
like, say, going back to 2002,
Yeah.
when you first took mefloquine, did you have any problems then? Did you notice anything? Do you remember hearing stories about it, or?
when you look back in hindsight, yeah, you see stuff and you don't know why you were a certain way, right? Like
Yeah.
and it's also hard for guys like myself, and I know other people, to just even admit it, right? Admit that there's points of weakness, or you were doing something, right?
Yeah.
You almost could admit to sucking a dick before you could admit to
Yeah.
fucking crying because you felt like crying
yeah,
or something.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And it was, yeah, I don't even know why, but it's not like there was reason for me to be that way, but I was just an emotional mess, and
Yeah, yeah.
I just kept it to myself. And later on, when trying it again, there, and then getting out and whatnot, there was a lot of that feeling coming back, and the thoughts of suicide and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
for me, it's hard for me to admit that. I'm a very personal and private person. I don't
Yeah.
like discussing that shit, because I don't, I don't like to have a weak point, and I don't want
Yeah.
to, it's almost like you're given,
You don't want to show weakness.
yeah, and you're
Right.
giving an opening to someone or whatever. So, and while we're on that topic, like I've always been the type to, in the military and all that, is just you toe the line, and I mean, you suck it up, like you're told, you suck it up and all this
Yep.
stuff, right? And anyone that was always feeling a certain way or whatever, they sucked it up. It was never, oh, this guy's this. It was like, he's a fucking pussy. Harden the fuck up, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the era we were through, and when you look at the numbers of guys that just sucked it up and then killed themselves, it's quite a few.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of our peers, a lot of people I knew, a lot of people I didn't know, a lot of people, and they all have that same thing, right? And
Yeah.
those are numbers that you can't lie about, and and I was there. I felt that way, and I don't feel like there was anything I saw in particular that just made me. It was how my brain was working and how I
Right.
felt. I
Yeah.
just felt so low and not able to deal with everything, all the change and everything.
Yeah.
And I've talked to guys. So I'm not on a pension. I'm not on disability. I'm not on any of that stuff at all. Never have been, never will be. There's $0 ever collected by me after the military. The only thing I collected in the military was my paycheck, and that's it. So why is that important for me to say? Because it speaks to, what we were saying earlier about the whole suck it up mentality,
Yeah.
and that some of us have.
Yeah.
I've spoken to people that are aware of what you're doing and aware and have been watching the shows and stuff like that. And it's not up to me to mention their names. And they have various issues that they feel is related to the mefloquine.
Yeah.
And they've chose to suffer and not do anything about it, and not bring it up, and just not at all. And there's quite a few guys like that, because there's still those people that'll chastise the guys for it and whatnot, and they're just wired to be that way.
Yep.
And I kind of felt like, I held stuff back because of that too. I encourage anyone that's even like had any of the side effects or issues to just like listen to the podcast that you did, the first one there with the American doctor.
Yep.
That's a highly educated man that has a lot of clout with him and just listen to things he says, because I was one of those people that was like the whole thing that happened with the commando and all that in Somalia.
Yeah.
And, me as a person, it angered me quite a bit, and it had me having feelings towards a man that I never knew.
Yeah.
And thinking, how the fuck could you do that?
Yeah.
What the fuck? And how could he get away? Like, how could that even happen? And lots of shit angered me about it. And to then hear from people that said, no, he wasn't a loose cannon. He wasn't like that. And, hearing his wife speak in the podcast and those are things you got to listen to, because, these are real things that have caused people to do that. And honestly, if you're just hardening the fuck up and not paying attention to it, you're being ignorant, because quite frankly, these people have went through shit, and it's already proven as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So I'll never be the type that is out there seeking any kind of pension from the government or anything like that.
Yeah.
Government can kiss my ass. I want nothing to do with them at all. But this is something that was done to us, and it needs to be acknowledged. Whether it's 50 years after I'm dead, I don't care. It's going to come out that, yes, in fact, there were some side effects to this thing, and it caused people to do things like the Matchy incident, or some bad choices that some of us may have made overseas, putting our troops in danger, and just even, how we may have acted afterwards. Some of the thoughts people might have, and then they just rather kill themselves versus have those thoughts. And,
No, I mean, talking about the suicides, man, the numbers got to be up there, right? I think, right? Excuse me, but because so many times, I'm talking to people and I say, yeah, I tried to kill myself twice. Oh yeah, I tried 3 times, right? Or I said, there's even people that have done it 3 times, and Buddy goes, yeah, I tried it 3 times, right? There's so many people that have tried it multiple times, right? And it's just like an ongoing thing. And, where's the help? Right?
Yeah.
And if the suicidal ideation is coming from a drug that we took, then, let's stop denying it and start looking for a means to help, right, or to fix them, or
that's exactly it. And I mean, through awareness, I'd like to see. Let's look into what this thing has done to people. Let's see if it's rewired them, and let's see what kind of stuff we can do to help them, get back.
Yeah.
I mean, there's certain things, pardon me, the way I am, that I wasn't before, that I'm okay with. Like I'm pretty comfortable, moving towards violence if I have to, and I've done that, with driving to work, and there's these fucking clowns, stealing from a farmer, and I fucking put them down and waited for the fucking cops to come, and then didn't have much to say to them, right? But I'm okay with that kind of shit, because my family is safer and I'm safer for it.
Yeah.
Like
I'm being able to look after yourself,
and very comfortable and willing to, to be that way. It's, what I'm willing to do to someone is probably not necessarily a normal thing. Obviously, I'm not saying I'm going to run out and just do that to whatever people, but some people have a different capacity to being that way, right? And they're not in control of it, and they move to that first before maybe escalating to the point where it needs to be that way. But there's definitely a lot with this drug that needs to come out. And listening to that, like I said, that doctor speak, yeah, lots of things. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, listening to Dr. Nevin and say listening to Marge Matchy talk, because say the Somalia thing or that was kind of what everybody looks at with the mefloquine, or to say goes back to that incident, and but really, if you looked at it, at everything that went on was all shit that was caused by the drug, right? So then when you realize, oh, all that was caused by the drug, well then maybe all this other stuff might have been caused from it too then.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If it was happening there, just to say about hallucinations, and so Clayton was having hallucinations before he left when he was there, right? And then you would think that if a drug would cause people to have hallucinations, which was happening in Somalia, why then would you have soldiers that went to Afghanistan now saying the worst part about the drug was the hallucinations?
Yeah.
Oh, right. And then because nobody's going to say anything, it's not going to be like, hey, Warrant, I see shit at night.
Yeah.
Right? You're
Yeah.
not, or,
Or you even put like like in my situation when I went in 02 and I did that loading dose there.
yeah.
Well, now I'm a new guy, FNG, put in the para company
Yeah, right.
after they just had those losses. It's not
Yeah.
like I was able to go, hey, buddy,
Yeah. Yeah.
do you feel weird on this shit or whatever?
Yeah, right. Once again, back to the, suck it the fuck up. I might have issues, but I'm not going to say nothing because, right, I'm
Yeah.
the new guy, or I came here as a replacement, or even if he had gone over there, right? Say, as a section commander, you're going to say, hey, go to the UMS. Yeah, I'm seeing shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hallucinating. I'm seeing this, right? Other than maybe to try to come off the medication, but, and
Yeah.
how do you, what are you hallucinating and what's real, what's not, right? And then you have these people going out on patrol,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or, you think of all the stuff that happened, right? How much stuff was linked to mefloquine, right? Even if you look at different incidents that went on in Afghanistan, right?
Yeah. Well, I know, and once again, I'm not going to speak on names or whatever, but like, even just like a innocent Afghanis getting killed, right? Like whether they were, and I don't mean like murdered and we're not tattletaling on someone. I mean like, a poor choice made by someone, possibly due to the drug they were on.
Yeah. Due to the fact that the drug caused paranoia, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So then we think this guy is trying to do something.
Yeah.
I take a shot, and now and I justify it because this is what I was feeling.
Yeah.
But
And it was
some of it didn't
was a
happen.
handicapped kid, and you weren't able to notice that, right?
Yeah.
Like, we had just been given a brief about their strapping suicide vests to kids, and you want to keep distance from kids and stuff like this.
Yeah.
And then, not surprisingly, within a couple of days, they had sent a kid to break into the camp and all that. And I came across him with another guy, and, we got him down or whatever. But after that little brief that was given us and everything, and he's kind of coming at you,
You could.
I almost did.
Yeah.
But I was able to put together that he's, I mean, maybe I risked the other guy's life a bit on that, but I felt like he wasn't strapped up. He had a big puffy jacket on, and that's why he was getting close to, but he started responding to what we were telling him, and it was a handicapped kid.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people probably would have shot him.
Yeah.
And that's what those bastards would do, though. They would get that false hint out there and then try to win the hearts and minds by having us kill kids and shit like that.
Yeah.
Right? So, but there were other times where, maybe that kid or that handicapped person or that innocent person did get killed. And I do know that there were those times.
Yeah.
And
So you wonder, right?
yeah, for sure.
Just to say. And you can really, because mefloquine then was available, came out in, when we took it in Somalia in 92, 93, and that was the only thing available when you did your tour in 2002. And, right, so was available then, and it never, they stopped using it in 2017. So the drug was available for the entire length of that war.
Yeah.
Mefloquine, if you wanted to take it.
Well, what's the point though? Like, and that's the whole thing with it too, is you're taking this drug and all that. I haven't heard of mass malaria deaths in Afghanistan. I haven't myself.
Yeah.
I haven't tried to look into it, so maybe it is a thing, but why were you taking it in the wintertime?
Yeah.
But like, honestly, I feel like if it was such a pandemic that we would have at least heard of it.
Yeah.
So what was the point of the drug? And that's the other things that are interesting when you listen to some experts on it.
Yeah, like Dr. Nevin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They know a lot more than they're pretending they do.
Yep, there was a purpose for it.
Yeah, absolutely,
Right.
and they knew it when they were fucking putting the detainees into Guantanamo Bay.
Yep, when they
were giving them those doses so that they torture the fuck out of them. A bunch of them fucking off themselves. Those numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
And what that did is actually just help it gave some proof to the fact.
Yeah.
And all of the different countries of guys that coming back and doing suicide by the same way. And if you do the numbers, a guy kills his whole family. Well, percentage wise, I'm sure the one guy that did that in Canada versus the 3 or 4 guys that did it in the States, that all, makes sense. It's not, there's something going on there, something that cannot be denied and needs to be brought to light.
Yeah.
And I held a lot of anger towards Desmond there too. And he was on my tour. I didn't know him, but I was fucking pissed off at him about that.
Yeah.
Once again, I didn't know the guy. And I held a lot of anger towards that because that's fucking horrific. And I never understood why and all that. But, as you grow older and you let go of ego and you come to terms with shit and, you let your guard down a bit, you can actually see, how that happened.
Yeah.
Because we're all wired differently. We all have different chemical, levels and whatever else.
And he was trying to get help, right?
Yeah.
He was trying to get help. When he was in St. Anne's Hospital in Montreal, he complained about the mefloquine. And he, something like, what did he say? He'd rather be picking up dead bodies every day than having to take that drug. Something like that, to say it was the worst thing he could do was take mefloquine.
Yeah. Right.
So, and then they did that inquiry, and Dr. Nevin was supposed to be available for that, everything, and I think they just, right, they didn't go there. They didn't go that direction at all, because that's where it really was, right?
Yeah.
Right, you look at Lionel Desmond, you look at the 4 murder-suicides in Fort Bragg in 2003. I mean, you can even look at Staff Sergeant Bales, right, in Afghanistan in 2012.
Yeah.
I'm sure that had a lot to play with it, right? Because he was hallucinating as well, seeing lights, thinking they were signaling each other.
Yeah.
Right? So, if you examined all of them, right, it would be like a big connect the dots of what mefloquine has done.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah. What other, when did you kind of come across thinking, hey, you know what, I think maybe it is the drug, or?
Well, I mean, I was still going through my whole suck it up thing and all that, and I just, my guts had never been the same since 2007, the last tour. And I couldn't take it anymore. I was fucking living in pain, like pretty bad pain in my guts.
Yeah.
And I figured, oh, maybe, you know, like you got something bad going on down there. So, you know, I had cameras basically up every hole
Yeah.
trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. And they just said there's nothing. Like there is nothing at all. And I guess, you know, like finally after just keep coming back, like I'm telling you something's going on. The doctor, he's like, from your tours in Afghanistan, you have PTSD, which is causing your guts. Have you ever heard of your gut instinct and all that? And
Yeah.
you're always tense and all that. Your gut's overworked, and you have that's what's causing the pain there. And I was just like, okay, well, I guess I'm giving up on this. I'm not getting any help, right?
Yeah.
And you know, I see that, you know, there is gut problems with it as a side effect.
Yeah.
And I never, you know, I don't feel like I went through anything too whatever during my whole time in the military that would cause my gut to be overworked. I really don't.
Yeah.
And I feel pretty confident that, you know, it's got to be from that. Everything else has been written off, and timelines line up, and just everything makes sense. So,
Yeah.
you know, I get some relief, you know, from it with kombucha.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'll drink that, and it helps. But I mean, they don't know much about your gut and all that, but you know, they kind of call it like the you know, it's linked to your brain somehow, right?
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
linked to your
Yeah.
thoughts and all kinds of stuff. And you know, it's without a doubt it's related to that, and
Yeah.
taking that, and you know, it got me, because it affected me. It got me looking into other people that I know that are suffering in different ways, and what you know, see relates to that, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's, you know, the guys that have killed themselves, the guys that still lean on you because they're about to you know,
Yeah.
you name it, all kinds of stuff. And like the anger and aggression and all that stuff, like those are all things that you can't ignore. Like, you know, I get pretty angry at times. I don't take it out on my wife and kids. I'm not like that, but you know, they've still seen me. They see me when it's, you know, a threatening situation. I get pretty agitated, or
Yeah.
you know, like crowds. Fuck no. I'm always looking for threats and you name it, and
Yep.
you know, I have my aggression and my agitation for things like that, and screaming kids and stuff like it.
Yeah.
It fucking wears on me, man.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I find. And then if you try to limit those things that irritate you, or try to, you know, avoid them, then you'll be that much better off, right? But
Yeah.
certain things you
Yeah.
can't, obviously, and general life, right?
Yeah.
Having to deal with stuff. But I know. Well, I do a fair amount of screaming. Spark gets to listen to me, like raging kind of.
Yeah.
In the like, for no reason, just like gotta let it out.
Yeah.
Usually try not to do it around people, obviously, right? But yeah.
Well, if in traffic, if like there's people just going about their fucking thing and all that, and I'm moving forward to, you know, get my distance from them, and they're coming up, and I'm like, okay, these people are fucking with me, and I'm getting agitated, and I'm flipping out, and the wife's and kids are kind of sitting there, and you know, wife's like, calm down and all that shit, and random just fucking start taking off, and
Yeah.
it's just like, she's like, you're right, I'm fuck, you know.
I'd do that sometimes when I first started driving. If somebody would get too close to me, behind me, and then riding me,
Yeah.
I would get so irritated. Then I'd pull over so they would go by, and then I'd pull back out, and then then be on their ass.
Oh yeah.
Right?
I've had someone like that, and I've just stuck the bat out the window like this and just show them, fucking, this is what you're about to get. And then, you know,
Yeah.
it's not good. It's not.
No, but
You know,
it's
that's at my worst. You know.
oh yeah, no, yeah.
I'm a lot better now, but there's still, you know.
But you know, like if little things build up and then boom,
Yeah.
just like that,
Yeah.
you're like,
Oh,
holy,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
raging,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah. That's where like I'll dump a lot of my time and stuff into the metal shaping, whether I've got something to make for someone or not. I'll go out and just make something just because I have something in me that I got to get rid of, and that seems to do it. And if I don't, then you know I'm turning to the bottle, and like this is an ear beer. I'm not drinking,
And I've got one as well.
but that's you know. It's worse, definitely, you know, when I'm drinking. So, you know, obviously that probably pays a bit to it, but
Yeah.
you know, it's more containable when I'm not.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to say that you're drunk all the time. It's just, you know, having that out of your life for an extended time. That all seems to get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The well, I mean, so many people turn to a hobby or to something that helps them deal with what's going on.
Yeah.
Or like you were saying, that's your therapy. Right?
Yep. Yeah.
And that it kind of calms your mind, or you're able to focus on that, and then you're not focusing inwards on yourself and then spinning.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. You're not getting lost in those thoughts, and
Yeah.
you know, when you're just sitting there drinking, you're not in control of them, and you have them, or if you're having a bad day and you're fucking, you know, feeling bad about the guys that didn't make it and
Yeah.
their families and, you know, shit like that. And,
Yeah.
you know, just the shitty stuff that could happen in a theater of war and stuff like that, you know, and
Yeah.
reminds you how shitty people can be and how shitty and unfair the world can be sometimes. And,
Yeah.
I find too when I start thinking of that, well, now I'm elevating my posture and elevating my own security and putting my guards and my wall up, and
Yeah.
you know, for the longest time I couldn't even really fuck. I had no problem finding an asshole. Like, I'm not a big fan of fucking people that are just naturally fucking assholes, and
Yeah.
I got no problem fucking letting them know that, right? And it's, if that's who you're gonna stay the fuck away from me.
Yeah.
And I can shove it off to the side a lot better when I'm not drinking.
Yeah. No, and then drinking is also, or alcohol is also a depressant. So then,
well, when you're doing it,
you know,
you're bringing up that stuff, and then it takes a while for that to get the fuck out of your head again. So,
yep, that's for sure.
maybe the drinking, you know, you drink because you're trying to numb something or whatever, but it actually brings some of that to light. You don't even realize it, right? So
Yeah. We're talking earlier before we started, but because we were together in Recce Platoon and we were out here and we taught a course in Chilliwack, right?
Yeah.
At the lake there, what, Cultus Lake?
Yep.
Yeah.
I got a job site actually right beside. So you remember when the course was getting chased down and they were doing a break contact through the woods and everything?
Yeah.
That job site is a water treatment plant right there, and that's right there where that happened.
Yeah.
So I was looking around and remembering that happening there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for that, the one exercise we did, I said, I'm going to leave my thermarest behind. I don't need that. You know, the ground's soft enough around here or whatever. And then I was like, man, what kind of an idiot was that?
Yeah.
Right?
Sucks your...
Like it weighs like all of a pound or whatever. Yeah. And then it was like, never had a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
Well, not that you
need a thermal barrier there.
Yeah. But that was a pretty good course.
Yeah.
A lot of good guys a lot of great guys we served with, right?
Yep.
You think of all the people that came out of the third, even, right? For, you know, it's what, 3 of the top snipers all came from the third. Out of the top 5, right? 3 of the top 5 kills in the world came from a 3rd Battalion guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Bunch of...
Or guys that came from the 3rd or were in the 3rd.
Bunch of the SF guys.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
So, and really, like say, had the conversation once to say, because the third started up from, or restarted, right? Because they were a 1090 battalion prior to moving to Edmonton or whatever. And then when they came to Edmonton, or we formed the third around airborne guys, and then the whole battalion really became airborne people.
Yeah.
Like say with the mentality of an airborne
Yeah.
trooper, and then the fact that we were light infantry, all that, right? So really plays into the full airborne role, kind of.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Physical fitness was important. A lot of marching, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. Sorry. The did you find you had any side effects like in 2007 when you were on Mefloquine on the last one, or?
I don't think I ever really paid attention to any of that, just because of the simple fact that my mind frame was.
You're on focus somewhere else, right? Focused on what's going on.
Yeah, and the whole suck it up and all that shit too, right? Like it's, you can shut a lot off if you're mentally tough enough or whatever, or stubborn enough or whatever.
Yeah.
But if I look back on it, in hindsight, there are decisions I made that I know I was better than that decision. That risked people's lives, and I feel like a lot of us were like that. And then I feel like some others weren't, and maybe they weren't affected by it. But for sure, it wasn't because I was a dummy. I wasn't a fucking dummy.
Yeah.
But I made some poor choices that I don't even understand how I did that.
Yeah.
And so did others, and some died from it.
Yeah.
And these people were better than that as well. And that poor choice, people died. So
yeah. No, I think I think a lot of our poor choices did come from Mefloquine.
Mm-hmm.
Say, even if you look in the W5 guinea pig soldiers, Romeo Dallaire said that he asked to come off the drug because it was affecting his decision making, and then they said no. Right? It'd be a self-inflicted wound if you stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was saying how it affected his decision making. Then I kind of, I look at some of the things that went on in Somalia. Say even with my section, or I was a driver in a grizzly. We had 2-3-man deaths, right? But in our 6-man crew, we went out on a patrol, or we took aid workers out, supposed to do security for them. That's what we were there for. And our section commander said we're not doing sentry. And they're like, well, I thought you were here for security for us, the aid workers said. And it's like, no, we're not doing security. It's not, there's nothing dangerous. We're in the middle of the desert in a war-torn country, no law, no nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't do sentry. And so the 4 corporals sat up, and the 4 of us kind of stayed awake without telling each other, so that the next day we said, hey, fuck, I stayed up all night last night. How about you? Me too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we won't let that happen again. And now, had we been unlucky and somebody bumped into us and then took us out, right? Then how would you look at the decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was it made from the drug or not, right? Mm-hmm. But I mean, because that decision doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Right? You're out in wild country and you're not doing sentry at night. You're just going to bed.
Yeah.
Hope for the best.
Yeah.
Right? And I believe that happened in Afghanistan as well.
So do I. Yeah, I heard of stuff that guys had kind of fallen asleep or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, or not doing security.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So, and that's completely due to that's not somebody being lazy.
Nope.
Because that can be the section commander say, no, you're doing sentry.
Yeah.
Right? You and the 3 other guys, you'll do it all night. Right? So if you're not doing it at all, that's not really well, for one, it's not a militarily a good decision,
Oh,
right?
from basic training all through battle school, through all the courses you do, it's habit. It's what you do. You're
yeah.
doing it.
And
So
then we
why in a
why would you not
theater
do it?
would you stop? What's the thing there that's different? You're taking fucking methylquin
Yeah.
because you do it second nature, and now you're not doing it. Like
Yeah.
it all makes sense.
You know, and my section commander was a Pathfinder, right? So that it's not like, you know, he barely got by. The
Yeah.
guy who's at the top of his, like, I mean, to be for Pathfinders, back in the airborne days, that, you know, 1 to 5 people might graduate out of 30 or 40 people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And these, you know, top-notch professional, some of the best soldiers out there. And then that's what's happening. And that's, like you said, right? If you look at everything and then say, okay, what's different about this? Oh, he's on a drug.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And other people were, you know, same thing, right? A lot of different people hallucinating, stuff like that. But
Yeah.
yeah. It's I don't know, man. You look at so much that's associated with it, with the suicides. They say that it kind of takes away a bit of your inhibition. So when you're kind of like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't do that, you're like, fucking, let's do it, right?
Yeah.
You know, I think. And in some ways, the lack of inhibition, I don't mind.
Yeah.
Right? Just to say, fuck you, don't care, right?
Yeah.
But ultimately, you know, obviously it leads to bad decisions then,
Yeah.
right? Or it can, because you don't have that other voice saying, Mike, you might end up in a lot of trouble over this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or whatever. But yeah, so you got out when you got out, did you come straight here?
Yeah. Yeah. So I got out in '08. I basically put my release in pretty much. I was told you're not going to go back over. Like that ain't going to happen because like at that time it was pretty rare, I guess, for 3 tours or whatever. Like so yeah, you're done. You won't be going again. So I was like, well, fuck that. And then I sat down with the career manager because I was slotted to go on, you know, sergeant's course or whatever. And yeah, you're looking to, you know, get posted to a school and all that. And I'm like, I didn't join to fucking be teaching in a school. It's not something I want to do. You know, I joined to
soldier.
Yeah. That's not something I wanted to do. And go to one of those shitty fucking postings with a bunch of shitty fucking rules and, you know, the mentality of some of the fucking people there. They can all still to this day suck my dick. Fuck them. Yeah. I got a lot of bad blood towards a lot of those fucking clowns that are stuffed away in schools and fucking assholes.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got no problem telling them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
Like that fucking faggot General Leslie there, that fucking piece of shit. Went liberal after. Big fucking surprise. You're a fucking liberal.
Yeah.
You fucking piece of shit. When we fucking landed in coming back from '07, we had a dead Van Do with us. They relieved us, and we hadn't even gotten out of country yet, and they had a casualty. So we were bringing him home, and we landed, and there was a ceremony right there or whatever, and you know, walking. It was in Trenton, and walking out and all, and it's all these fucking higher ups there just trying to get their fucking photo op and kiss ass and everything.
Yeah.
And it was just the way they talk to you. It's like, I'm not here for your fucking amusement or your anything, right? Like I was fucking done with it. So General Hillier was there at the time. You know, shook his hand. My chest was out. Pretty proud to meet him because it was like, finally, you know, we got some leadership here and all that. Peter McKay shook his hand, liked him and all that.
Yeah.
And that fucking little knob Leslie comes down with his stupid fucking hairdo and all that. And of all people he picks to fucking talk to me, wrong person. And it was just like, fuck, man. Oh, how was it? It was my fucking third tour. Oh, well, how was it? Blah, blah, blah. It was a fucking insurgency. He's like, what? I said, it was a fucking insurgency, sir. And he's, oh, sure was. And he fucking hops along like a fucking little dildo chasing the tail.
Yeah.
Fucking goof. Guy beside me, he's like, ooh. But like, I wanted to fucking wring his neck. And it took a lot for me not to. And I think he got the point. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. I'm not here for you and your amusement and your fucking photo op. Anything like that. I'm not. Yeah. And I didn't have the capacity to deal with it anymore.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's where I left the military. Totally fucking changed. I didn't have the capacity to deal with remedial bullshit. Yeah. And I still don't. I don't participate in it. I want nothing to do with it. To me, it's just somebody being a fucking asshole.
Yeah. And you did 3 tours in how many years? 5? 6 years?
I was in for, I think I was in for 8 years, I think. Yeah.
3 tours in 8 years.
Yeah.
Fuck, eh? And right at the start then, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, you know, like I talking with guys later, and it's like, you know, having beers. I went to, you know, Edmonton there for that change of command, and saw
that was nice.
Saw some people I hadn't seen in a while and stuff like that, and chat with them, and they're like, yeah, you know, they were like a 3-tour person then too, and then they went on to do another one there, and then one in Iraq and all that. So it's like, you know, I probably would have maybe found my way there again, but
yeah,
whatever. I don't regret the decision necessarily. And I still remember who we were and what we all had, and that's still very important to me. And I still keep in touch with guys, and you know, I'm good. And I had to, like we talked about it before, you know, like I had burnt all my shit, did this course, all that kind of stuff. I just fucking burnt it all. I needed to do that for me to have my sanity and find a way to fit in the civilian side. And I don't really fit in it everywhere you go. Like, I don't know if that's a ex-military thing or if it's just me, but I'm an odd duck, and I'm just fucking fine with that.
We don't fit in well. Well, I don't feel like I fit in well either.
Yeah.
Say, right?
Even just how you are, it makes people uncomfortable, and then if they want to react a certain way because they're uncomfortable, I can elevate there too. And like even just when you go to like a crowded room and how you set yourself up, your posture there sets a civilian off in a way, and they don't understand why it is, but you're on security, and they're subconsciously taking note to it, and you know, and you're subconsciously doing it, but it's like I'm finding it out and squaring off to possible threats, and it's second nature. And then people think you're fucking eyeing them up and all that, but you're just assessing.
Because it doesn't stop. The wheels are always turning.
Exactly.
They're always rolling, always assessing. Right, driving down the highway.
Exactly.
Scanning the ditches. Right.
Yeah.
It's like a never-ending thing.
So then, if you're in a crowded place, and then you become fatigued, and then you start throwing in fucking alcohol into it, and all that, it's all never a good fucking thing, right? Yeah. That's probably where a lot of guys go to drugs and start numbing themselves, and that fucking makes their issues even worse.
Yeah.
You know,
with anything, with addictions, with alcohol, with drugs, right? All the stuff trying to numb your mind, or trying to forget about this, or trying to shut your mind off.
Yeah.
I know, you know, say I drank one time intentionally to like shut my mind off, right? It was just like, it's like, I'm going to fucking drink until my mind shuts off, or I'm going to fucking power through until I'm...
Yeah.
Right?
The only thing is it fucking turns it on even more.
Yeah. And then the next day is worse, right?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And man, I can't afford, like, for myself, like, you know, just say with the insomnia for myself, right? The lack of sleeping, and then you go out and get drunk, and then you can't. Then you don't sleep good the first night, and the second night you're barely.
Yeah.
And it's like
There's like 3 or 4 days that
Yeah,
are
yeah,
fucking
losing-
gone. Yeah.
this time just from that one mistake.
Yeah.
For me, it's a mistake. You know, I don't want to. I like a beer here and there, but I don't want to indulge.
Yeah, I can't.
I don't want to open up the dojo again.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? You know, like since I was Sensei Rude, the Grand Master of the most ancient and noble art of Taiwan. So,
Yeah. Like when we were stealing fucking beer out of those old vets' coolers at that campsite there.
yeah.
Then hiking a mountain hungover the next day with ashes.
That was at the for the Siffler Falls for the airborne.
Yeah.
For the first can parrot.
Yep.
Going to the top of the mountain.
Buddy's ashes are
Back in the parrot company.
hungover as fuck.
Drinking till whatever time. Liberating beer from people's.
Yeah.
I think it might have been a bottle of rum or something that we liberated from somebody's cooler and said, "Well,
Yeah.
you went to bed early,
Yeah.
so we had to take care
We'll
of it."
take that.
And then walking up a mountain at like 6 in the morning,
Oh yeah.
saying, "Why'd I do that?"
Yeah, oh yeah. That was a rough one.
Yeah. The last time I went up it, I never got drunk, so
Yeah.
it was nice. It was a bit different going up that way. But the parrot company, and that was even say the parrot company. I think was the first one that went out when they started taking stuff, doing the mountain. I'm pretty sure it was right at the start, because I think when they first started it, I know I was there, and and that's pretty cool, right? Taking ashes up
Yeah.
of fellow jumpers, right,
Yeah.
to the top of the mountain.
I remember, I don't know who the guy was, but he was like a guy that was in like the 80s or whatever. And then the sergeant major that took us up, Tony Meyer.
Yeah.
And
I remember
he got into it with a guy a bit because the guy is like saying, "There's no way you guys did it in that time. No, you guys didn't get to the top. We went to the fucking top." And this fucking asshole saying we didn't. Like, fuck.
Oh yeah, we went. We were flying up the.
Yeah.
We were giving her, man.
Yeah. But even to this day, I have a hard time dealing with that. Like, you fucking slap him in the side of his head, say, "Fuck, we were at the top, dickhead. So fucking get over yourself." Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
That shit pisses me off. I fucking hate that.
Yeah.
Hate that mentality.
Man, and the fact we actually went up, we end up, because the two peaks kind of go up whatever, and we ended up getting drawn in on the other peak.
Yeah.
So then we had to go back down, go over, and then go back up.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
And then we almost got fucking snowed in or whatever the weather changed.
Yeah. No, that we're at the very top.
Yeah.
Or we're at the top then, getting the ashes, and I'm just like, it's like, hurry up! I'm not getting stuck. I'm
Tony
not
Meyer's
getting
like,
stuck.
we gotta fucking go.
Yeah. I'm like, we're not getting stuck on the top of the mountain, man. We got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And everybody else is like sitting there taking pictures, laughing, joking. Everybody's like that, and we're like, fuck,
Yeah.
I'm like shaking out the bag of ashes, right? And it's
that,
like, we gotta go.
You think the cock fest on the way up there sucked. The way down, when you're now fucked and everything, that was even harder on the knees.
Yeah. Did we bring a bottle up with us when we?
Yeah, there was a shot. I can't remember. I think it was regimental rum. I think.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we did that the odd time. One time I think I left the bottle up there, or we took a bottle up, did a shot, and then left it at the rock there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool. Even going up there and doing that as well, right?
Doing that for legends is pretty. It's an honor, really, to be honest with you. Like,
it's a cool place. That's kind of where I'm thinking where I want to have my ashes spread. I paid for a plot already, right? Kind of like I learned this from like I shouldn't say I learned it, but a guy that I knew, Frank Slade, RCR. He was a jump company guy from the 50s. Was in Korea at the end of the war. lost his buddy on the 20th or 21st of July, Donald Penny. But anyways, went through all this. It was just him and his wife. So they didn't have any kids, and they wanted to make sure. He was like, everything's going to be done, right? So he was at the cemetery, got their plots already dug out, and made sure all the rocks were pulled out, and it was good ground so that when they died, they just dig it and drop them down. So he's sitting there, and they're digging the grave, and the guy goes, whose grave are we digging this for? Oh, he's sitting over there on the fence, right, watching us, right? Because he was all about, everything's got to be taken care of, right?
Yeah.
So everything was done. So then I'm like, you know what? That's what I want to do, right? I don't want to rely on somebody to say, okay, when I pass, they got to, find a place, do this, do that. No. So I went and dropped off a check so I got a plot like out by Hanna, Alberta, out by Cereal, in a place called Sedalia. So my dad's buried here, and Mike Gully's dad is buried over here. And then I'm going to be by my dad, and he'll be by his. But
Okay.
But I paid for a plot, paid the cash, all covered, got the will done, everything, just to say I don't want people having to take care of me.
Yeah.
Or take care of those things, right?
Yeah.
Same even with my, I got everything in a storage locker in Edmonton. I don't want to leave anything at anybody's place, so it's just right there, and then
Yeah.
It's not a big issue.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, not a burden for someone or whatever.
Yeah. So and then I got all that from that RCR guy, right?
Yeah.
Frank Slade, and it's like, nope, that's how I'm going to be, right?
Got me thinking. I probably might in the future here make myself an urn for myself.
Yeah.
If I
That
can
would
have
be
it on the
kinda
shelf
cool,
somewhere,
right?
it'd be
Yeah.
weird, but fucking.
Yeah. But I mean, that's
I've already made one for somebody,
yeah.
like an ash box. So maybe I'll make one for me.
Yeah.
That's fucking weird. I'll do it.
But then it would be really kind of that much more special when you pass. Then
Yeah.
your ashes are in the one that you made yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Just got to make sure my brother-in-law doesn't get any of the ashes, because he's already done it before. It's their thing that he had, but he'd probably do it to me too. Is you take a shit and sprinkle it on and send you on your way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he ain't fucking doing that to me.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
That'd be cool though. Or making the
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I'll do that. Why not?
Would you make it in the shape of a tank? Or what do you think you'd do?
No, probably just something that's got some nice curves to it, right?
Yeah.
Not a tank, but because of my luck, someone would use it for that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could have a smaller tank.
Yeah.
A big tank. How many ashes do we have?
Yeah.
They're pretty heavy though for a bag, right?
Yeah. Oh,
It's
fucking
kind of weird.
Marco jumped in a guy at one of the jumps that we did, and his family was there. And when he opened up, buddy that was all in the bag almost ripped his pocket completely off his pants, off his
Oh no way.
his cab hat pants. And then he spread the ashes in the air. He was free falling, but from a free fall from opening up, yeah, that's how heavy they are.
And that
That would have been brutal.
Yeah,
His
yeah.
families are like, fuck.
Yeah, right. And that must have been kind of tricky, spreading the ashes in a free fall or under canopy.
Under canopy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I just saw him when we were down there, and I was, you remember that? He said, oh yeah, because they did a jump at the change of command there too. So
because you got the constant wind coming in,
don't spread it
I
on the
would say
crowd.
more like that. Or don't spread it on yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because I think, even the time that we were up there, right, doing the bag and the wind come back, right,
Yeah.
end up getting some
Yeah.
here and
The
there.
whole Big Lebowski.
Yeah. Yeah, I seen one kind of like that too, but yeah, definitely a bit different that way. Yeah. What was I going to say? So, have you been... How long after you got out did you start doing...
Yeah, it would have been quite a few years because I spent a lot of time just being single and getting a trade and just fucking drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking.
Yeah.
And during that time, I mean, I was, trying to get shot by a cop and stuff like that. So none of this shit was really in my mind. So it was quite a bit after. And then I met a girl kind of who helped me through my stuff and all that. And she came with a daughter, which is now my oldest.
Yeah.
And, settling down and stuff like that. And I came across like some of my old shit, like, because I told you I burnt a lot of stuff, but there was a pretty big jump drive that they gave us. It was like a exterior hard drive. And it was one of the things I got when I was on tour. And I'm like, oh, fuck, well, let's see if there's any pictures on there. And so there was like some old pictures of that tour and stuff like that. And then boom, all of these different fucking bike parts from like West Coast Choppers. I was like, I was gonna, with my tour money, I'm gonna build that bike finally. So that was all on there. And then around that time or shortly after, he shut down his parts and whatever, moved on to Texas or wherever, and the parts weren't available anymore. And I'm like, fuck, I should start looking for like one of his frames and all that, and let's do it. So that's what I did, and I got a frame and all that, and then I started looking into like a custom tank. And the price, I was like, holy fuck, that's a lot of money, because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's just learn how to do it, because like I had a bunch of his movies overseas with me too, and I watched like him shaping all that stuff.
Oh no way.
And I'm like, that's fucking cool, it's badass. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna learn this, I'm gonna figure it out. And so that's what kind of got me into it. And that's when I started doing it was probably, I'm not too sure, I'm not good with dates and timelines and stuff, but I had to be a shithead for a while first. So
yeah. We all go through that.
Yeah, I wish I would have found it earlier, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Save some hard times.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Yeah. Yep. I wish. That's when I look back, I wish. The only thing I wish to change a bit was maybe, not turning to the wrong thing for help. Right?
Yeah.
Or, turning to alcohol to go to sleep or whatever.
Yeah.
But even on that, the pharmaceutical part, I don't much care for that either. Right.
Oh, I was on some pills they gave me too, because I recognized, like this isn't right, and drinking everything away, and then I had a hard time with it, but I found a doctor and said, listen, like I've got some shit going on. I don't know what it was that he gave me. I can't remember, and I tried it, but it kind of compounded the shit, made me want to, the bad stuff, made me want to, like, it'd take me down or whatever, and you'd feel kind of high at times at work and stuff.
Yeah.
But, then when you're alone, you want to sit on the corner of the bed and cry and kill yourself. So when I told them that, no, it doesn't do that. It doesn't make sense. It's rare and all that. But it compounded whatever was going on with me, and that's what, and it probably didn't interact with other stuff, right?
Didn't interact with the methylquinone, right?
Yeah.
Because they say some antidepressants,
yeah,
or they're not supposed to be as good.
Yeah.
With, people that took methylquinone.
Yeah. So I fucking went right off of it, and I was like, fuck that. So.
Yeah. No, I don't think any of the pharmaceuticals are any good either, right? Really, any of the antidepressants that I was ever on.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say, oh man, that was a top-notch drug, man. If you got problems, that's what you should take.
Yeah.
Right? Never once or never thought, oh man, this drug works so wonderfully. everybody else should do
Yeah.
do it, right? The only time I ever had a feeling like that is when I took ketamine. And I did the ketamine treatment with Field Trip Health out of Toronto. And I was like, man, so-and-so should take this, right? This person or that person, man, that would help them, man. It's, it did a lot for me, say, for traffic, right? For being able to deal with traffic. But then I also think I would equate it to we spin up more, right? Say the spring is getting compressed, right? With whatever's going on with how fucked up we are at the time or whatever. And then it's like that. And most of the time we're operating with the spring fully compressed, ready, almost ready to burst at any moment, right? And when I did the ketamine, it was like the spring was released. And then it was like, the little things even didn't, or some of the big things didn't even kind of bother me then, right? But definitely made the difference for driving.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So those are different things that can help with mefloquine.
Yeah.
I think, but
I tried the microdosing of the mushrooms and all that, and even like a reset dose and all that. My brain doesn't work well with that shit, so
yeah.
I was a bit of a mess on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like that feeling and all that shit, so
Yeah.
it didn't work out too well for me.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Well, I was fortunate anyways for that one then. It worked. It was nice for me, and I for the most people that do it, I think they get the benefits, depending on.
Yeah. They're starting to push the microdosing and all that, and even the controlled dosing.
Yeah.
With therapy, as far as mushrooms, so it's more natural and all that.
Yeah.
You don't take a bunch, chew a bunch and then fucking trip out. You need to mix it with some sorts of therapy and all that stuff, and if it works, it resets and all that. But I'm not doing it.
That's how I find it. It'll reset me.
Yeah.
I'll do that. And in a sense, like in a clinical sense, listening to music, laying down, right? Not a party setting.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I don't know. I get lost in some thoughts, and it's not good. Doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
There's that certain rabbit hole you don't want to go down, and
That's
just
the one
walks
that
me
takes you
right
to-
to it.
Yeah.
It says fucking, there you go.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
The other, I was talking before about the dual sympathetic reset. That's something I want to learn more about. I listened to a book on it, Audible book called The Invisible Machine, and it talks. So you get an injection in your neck, in your L1 and L3, on the left side, and you can get it on the right side, or it's the right side then the left. But it's supposed to kind of turn the switch off, right? Your sympathetic nervous system is affected by, say, even all the times that you went out the gate, right? And you're operating at that level. So your switch is on, and then your switch ends up staying on. So then the hypervigilance, all that stuff is going on for you all the time. So what that does, I think it's like an anesthetic they inject, and then it's, in my mind, it releases the switch, and then they're not in the fight, flight, or whichever mode, right?
Yeah.
So
That's interesting.
yeah. So I think that's something that might help us later with mefloquine, and then say for myself now, I'm not on any pharmaceutical except for, say, cannabis, and that's. Use that mostly, to calm down at times, but definitely for sleep, right? I can't, I was on sleeping pills before, which were also doubling up as an antidepressant, as an extra, right? Trazodone, whichever. Right?
Yeah.
So.
Definitely shit you don't want to be on.
Yeah. It's funny how we kind of shift in our life or whatever, right? Say I was sensei rude before drinking, and now it's more really about trying to heal or things to improve or become, to improve oneself or be better or help people out.
Yeah.
As opposed to, let's go downtown, let's go party.
Yeah.
Let's go driver.
Yeah.
Like when, say, just to sit back and reminisce about, where were we? In Lac La Biche, I think.
Yeah.
We went out for so we went out and did a recce for the recce course.
Yeah.
That we were going to do training out just outside of Lac La Biche, I think, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
We were 10 Ks out. I think, was it me, you, and Pete Phillips, or me, you, and...
Pete Phillips, and then Phillips was the driver.
Yeah. So and then we're in a hotel, somewhere in Lac La Biche then, right?
We
went
stayed
to the bar.
where the cadets stay.
Oh, okay.
Where they parade at.
Yeah.
Yeah, we stayed there.
Yeah.
And then we did a little thing with them that one.
Yeah. Partied at the bar.
Did we go to a bar there?
Yeah. Because we were partying. Because remember, I made an arrangement, or we were talking that night about getting tasered.
Oh,
and I so we had to bring this one up, right?
Yeah.
And we said, we were sitting there drinking. It was like, okay, you want to get tasered? Yeah, okay, we'll get tasered, right? And then it was like, I'm going to give my rain jacket away. Yeah, and I gave my rain jacket away. And then it was like next day, hey, I got it all set up to go do the tasering. And you're like, no, man, that was drunk talk.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I'm like, yeah, but I gave my rain jacket away. I kept my part of my deal.
You still haven't let it go.
No.
Have you set one up?
Well, we can try again. Yeah. But it was funny. So then I went to the detachment, and then I had to save face for us.
Yeah.
And say, well, because he's not doing it, I'm here to take his place. And then it was a guy that I went to high school with.
Oh,
right?
weird.
Yeah. And it was his birthday that day.
Fuck.
And he tasered me on his birthday. And we had the secretary come downstairs, so it was in the RCMP building. And I think went down to the basement, and then the secretary came down and filmed it as he tasered me. And I just went on my knees, and then as soon as he hit the trigger, it was like, boom, right? And then he let go of the trigger. He's like, man, I wasn't going to give you the 5-second ride. I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
Right? But, yeah.
I think it was you told me that Phil Martin guy.
Oh, man,
he could handle it pretty good.
He was, there was like me, the first year we did that, we went up to Fort McMurray on a recruiting trip, or on a snowmobile ride from Fort McMurray to Fort Chip or Fort Smith, I think the first year we went. So then we arranged to do the tasering, because as we're all sitting around, we were sitting at the RCMP detachment with them and hanging out with them, having beers, and then it's like, hey, let's get tasered. And then Ambrose was like, yeah, let's do it right now, right? And I'm like, not now. We got to be sober. I want to remember this, right? That way, at least you'd know, hey, I don't want to do it again, or, well, okay, maybe I'll try it a few more times, right? But, yeah. And then so each guy did it. I think out of the 8 guys that went up, 5 of us did it, got tasered. And then me, Phil, and Ambrose linked arms, and they tasered the 3 of us together. And me and Ambrose were just whatever rocking with the electricity.
Yeah.
And when Phil was doing, he's like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. Like he could talk. I'm like, no, man. My only thought was, please don't urinate or shit yourself, right?
Yeah.
Because then you kind of lose the cool points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The things we did.
Yeah.
Or were willing, right? Always testing, right?
Some of us.
Yeah. Some of us are a sucker for punishment.
Yeah.
I think I did it 5 times altogether.
Oh, fuck.
I think 4 times just with the wires taped to your shoulders. And then 1 time just putting the gun into the back of your leg and zapping you.
Yeah.
But there's nothing like the wires.
Yeah.
Ride the lightning. Scream like a bitch.
Yeah.
I think I did both.
They're gonna have to catch me running away.
Yeah. Just see it.
Yeah.
Hey, did you get tasered?
You can tase me, but I'm gonna have to be running.
Yeah. Can't just sit there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's even like the last. I think when I did it in Lac La Biche there, right? He had put the wires on and he was standing behind me, and I was like, "Oh man, I can almost like feel it. It's kind of like bringing back." As I'm reminiscing,
Yeah.
saying I can feel it, and then all of a sudden,
Don't think it was that bad.
yeah. It was just funny. It was just like boom,
Oh, fuck.
right? Just dropped.
Right on your face?
Oh yeah, well, I was on my knees, right? Because then I had nobody to catch me. But when we were doing it like up in Fort Chip, guys were catching us, or we had a couple people standing on either side. So when you go to drop, they'd grab you, or whatever.
Yeah.
I think, but because it pretty much drops you. I think on their training video they do it to a buffalo.
Oh, fuck.
So they drop a buffalo,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So ample power.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So what do you, out of everything you've done, what are you most proud of? Like between, say, a personal and a professional level?
Well, I mean, personally is my family for sure.
Yeah.
You know, being able to get to that point was kind of a bit of a road, and going through it with my wife and all that, like, you know, that's my number one. That's my solid, right? So I'm pretty proud of the relationship I have with her.
Yeah.
And you know, having a family with her for sure. That's top.
Outstanding to see.
Yeah, it's top for me. So
Yeah.
you know, I have my person, and she gave me 2 kids that are my everything. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's definitely, and that's changed me. And you know, like, I'm pretty protective of women and children, and I feel that our laws are not, and have no problem doing something about that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. When it comes to your family.
yeah, outside of my family,
Yeah.
even, you know,
Yeah.
I will protect women and children. For
Oh
sure.
yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah.
And I will go outside of the law.
And that, like, the shit that goes on is absolutely.
The shit they get away with.
Yeah.
It's just another reason why the government could kiss my fucking ass.
Yeah.
You know, our women and children are in danger because of them, and it's
Man.
getting worse.
Yeah. No. So, like, say I was just up in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, and they say they're one of the highest crime areas in Canada or something. And to say that people are coming up there and abducting people from up there, or grabbing people,
Fuck.
saying there's a white van from BC, watch out for it because they tried to grab 2 people on this day. Right? I'm like, oh man, Prince Albert, Saskatchewan?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you have, you know, it's and that's all the human trafficking, right? Man,
Yep.
That's, and say, I wish I brought the pamphlet with me, but there's a lady in Manitoba. They're trying to open up a center to help trafficked people, to be able to bring them into a safe place, get their help, and then so they're trying to open a center up in Winnipeg. But once again, I'll have to try to. I have the pamphlet in my truck, but I met with one of the ladies that was from that. I think I should just grab it. One sec. So we stopped quickly so I could show you this. So it's the Joy Smith Foundation, and so like that's what. So it's all like, say it says within 1 kilometer someone is being lured into sex trafficking.
Fuck.
Within 1 kilometer, right? Like I think some of the other facts or something. So they've helped over 7,000 lives already. The Joy Smith Foundation. She was well, a bit there on her, but it's that there. I'll just show you for a sec. But some of the stats are shocking, man.
Yeah.
Like, or to say how much one sex trafficker earns their pimp or whatever. That it's something like it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I think it's like $270,000 a year.
Fucking
Right.
you need to string them up.
and then they have however many people.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and it's sick that it seems like it's getting worse.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
And I think you're seeing more of it, even to say, like, now for the last number of years now, they've had billboards up through Northern Ontario, right? All talking about the trafficking and you're not welcome here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But, it's a pretty sad thing. So then on a professional level, both whether it's the military or making tanks or doing any of that machining work and everything, what do you think is there a particular job that you're most proud of, or
Well, I mean, like where I'm at now doing this, I have a lot of passion for it. Like I love it, and I just dump everything into it. And when I'm done making a tank, that tank has spent a lot of time with me. It's come to work with me, like on my regular job, my day job. It sometimes is sleeping in my room because I got to study every angle, and eventually something pops out at you and all that. So, like I have a lot of passion for it and I enjoy it. But, if we're going to look back at everything, definitely the time I had in the 3rd Battalion and overseas and whatnot, like, that was, I wouldn't change that for the world. It's still important to me who we were and who we still are, but who we were and what we did and the fucking badass team we had, and it was all a bunch of solid, real men, professional, trained killers, solid guys. I'm pretty proud of that time. There's a lot of guys I looked up to, and like, you being one of them. It's like, these guys are, professionals, but these guys are badasses. And, it was just almost like a movie, right? Like that was some pretty good times, and a lot of the guys are dead now, whether it's suicide or overseas, or
lost quite a few,
drinking themselves to death.
That's to me more tragic one, right? When to drink yourself to death, or to you go down that road and then it's hard to get off the road. Right. How do you stop drinking, or how do you stop the addictions, because that's the only way you're able to shut your mind off or forget or numb yourself. Right. How do you change that, right? Or what can you do, right? So
it is good seeing, like, when I was overseas in 2007, that's when I opened up my Facebook account. Like that was a new thing then. So like I don't have that page anymore, but like my first profile was me and 2 fucking Afghanis. That was my first picture.
Oh, no way. For your
MVGs on everything, like,
Yeah.
in the middle of the bazaar in Kandahar. But but from all of that, you still get to see people from years ago and see them doing their things and doing good, like guys coaching hockey and being with their kids and being with their family, or riding their motorbikes, or making their zombie clubs or whatever. It's good to see people just out there living in their capacity to just figure out a way to keep going, right? So I enjoy seeing that, and
Yeah. Seeing others succeed,
Yeah.
see them going. I mean,
Yeah.
I couldn't do anything close to what you do, right? And to find, and when it's a passion, then it makes it easier, obviously, right?
Yeah, you don't even feel like you're working. It's just you don't have to look at the clock to see when it's time to. You just can't wait to get home or whatever. I'm just doing it until I fucking fail, until I'm done.
Yeah.
You walk in all seized up and wiped out and
Yeah.
shower in bed.
It's cool how you said it's almost like a personal relationship with the tank too, coming with you to work,
Yeah.
sitting on your nightstand, or
Yeah.
being everywhere, studying it, looking at it, trying to,
Yeah. Just
do the customers know that you sleep with your with their tank?
they do now, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a pretty kind of a cool thing to, for somebody to know that, oh man, he fucking takes the tank everywhere, looking at it, trying to.
Different angles, different lights, just, different backgrounds will maybe make something else pop out. Okay, that area needs to be adjusted.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know.
So then
it's obviously
not,
overkill because, like a lot of you just putting like a body work on it and painting it or whatever. But my goal is that they just have to do a fucking prime coat and sand it, and then they can just paint. That's my goal.
Yeah.
I don't want them having to fill too much in whatever area. That's my ego, and that's what I want to be able to give or produce. And something like this copper here, it's not like you're putting body work on it. Like any body or any shit like
that's the way it is, right?
It's gonna be, you gotta metal finish it and then polish it up, and it's got to be good. And anything that's off is gonna stand out.
Yeah.
So.
And just the material alone was $700.
Like
Close.
It's with all the metal. I mean, there's all different prices or whatever, but copper is one of the only ones. The price changes daily. It's because it's traded on the stocks, so it goes with that, and that's kind of why I believe why it's most is like this gauge or whatever, and copper is like, well, it's this ounce, like 22 ounce or whatever, versus its gauge. But I don't care to try and learn that. I just, 16 gauge, 18 gauge, good enough.
Yeah.
But, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
But so I've got 2 sheets that are about $700 each, and we're getting close to 1 sheet being done.
Huh.
So at the time anyway, it might be more now. I don't know.
Yeah. So when everything's said and done, like just out of curiosity, what does a tank go for then? Because you said, custom tanks cost a lot more money.
Yeah, and it depends. Like I do like kind of like a chopper Sportster version of a tank, and that it's different than a stock one because it's got more shape and form to it and all that. So those can be anywhere from $800 to $1,000.
Yeah.
600,000, something like that.
Yeah.
And then like the more intricate ones and all that, I've just recently come to, I'm gonna have a shop rate, so it's I can start kind of guesstimating a ballpark of where it's gonna be at, but the shop rate's what's gonna dictate it.
Yeah.
And it's a good shop rate.
Yeah.
So.
Nice.
Like when I'm done with the tank and the fenders here, this guy can turn around and sell it for $6,000 American all day, and he'll find a buyer in the States.
Yeah.
So, it was a dying art, and more people are getting into it now, and that's good. So there's more machinery available versus trying to refurbish old shit and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But still, having said that, it's a lot of work to get there.
Is there an average size of a tank that you're?
1.5 gallon to 3.5 gallon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I don't really go too much with the 1.5. I like the the sporty ones that a lot of guys like to use on their choppers. That's about 2 gallon. So, yeah.
Nice. Yep. And then you've built a few custom bikes yourself now, right?
Yeah. Whether redoing a bike, so it's basically a build again. You're taking it apart, and you're starting with a frame again that's been sandblasted, and now you go from there, and it's mock up and all that. I've done that quite a few times now. So
yeah,
I got another guy that we served with his bike in the garage, and I'm gonna redo that too. But I'm like, you kind of treat this as your art or whatever, right? So I'm helping him out and doing him a solid, but I don't really want to be building into like other people's vision per se, right?
Yeah.
To me, that never really works, and it also takes the fun away from it. Like a custom builder out there isn't gonna build to your vision. He builds what he likes, and then if it sells, it sells, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's about, right? So that's kind of more what I want to do. I mean, I have my regular job. I'm not trying to, start something or whatever, but this is it's an individualistic thing. Like,
is there many people out there doing it? Like
more so now, yeah. But even like a lot of the guys I'll do stuff for, they're building a bike, and not to take anything away from them, but they're not building a fender, or they're not building the tank, and I mean, I've been there too, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean they're not a builder. It's just they're not a coach work
that
guy
level
or
yet,
a metal shaping guy.
Yeah.
And they might not want to be a metal shaping guy. Some of the greats were never really a big metal shaping guy.
Right.
So there's some guys out there that are taking a stock tank, and they're cutting it up and changing its shape and adding stuff to it and doing a good job with it too, right? So
Yeah.
that's just kind of how they prefer to do it, and there's nothing wrong with that. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the challenge. So.
And it's not a short challenge. Stay on a tank 24 hours on the copper so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not building frames. I'd like to eventually get to that. But I'm not building frames, so maybe some of these guys are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot to be said in that too. You build a fucking frame that isn't gonna fucking fall apart.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big deal. So.
A lot must go into that as well, eh?
Yeah. Everything's got their fitment has to be right tight, and your fish mouth in your pipe has got to be perfect, and beveling the edge to the material thickness. You got to have your welding down fucking bang on. Lots to it. Frame jig, how to weld it so it doesn't warp, where to relieve it in the frame jig so that when you pop it out, it doesn't go out of whack.
Yeah.
There's lots to it, and not a lot of information that's always shared. Like, I find a lot of guys in that industry, they tend to just protect everything, and instead of sharing the info. And I've answered every question ever asked of me of guys and I get guys that ask me questions, and I'm not the expert on it, but I'll tell them what I do and what I think and what works for me.
Instead of holding it and not sharing it.
I mean, I just remember the guys that were willing to help me out, like a guy named Dave Ryan, and he's under, I can't pronounce it properly, but the Tor Metal Shaper or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's basically like one of the greats out of Canada, just amazing. And he's been like recruited down south. He's down there, and he's doing it down there. And he made me work for it. Like, he wasn't like, I would send him pictures and try to ask him questions. And I think he liked the fact that, okay, well, this guy's out there grinding and trying, right? So he was willing to help me out. And
you're putting the time in, you're putting the work.
That's kind of rare with guys. They for whatever reason, if they're too busy, or they just don't want to help you. They don't want the other people. Like, it's almost like badge protecting in a way, some of them, right?
Yeah.
You know, they know an answer and they could steer you in the right direction, but they choose not to. And whatever, that's on them. Like, I'll always answer any questions someone has of me, and
Yeah.
I got no problem helping them out. I know the struggle.
Yeah.
As long as they're out there doing the work, which is what I did, then, you know.
Yeah.
And Dave, like, he was out in Calgary at one time, and then he was in Wainwright for a bit too. So then I let him know, oh yeah, I was there. I was in the military and all that. And I think he liked that too, right? So
Yeah.
he's a really good guy and very, very talented metal shaper. And so it was, yeah, I mean, to even have a quarter of his skills would be amazing, but I'm definitely not there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But it all comes with work. Right?
Yeah. You got to put in that time. And that's one thing I hated hearing from some of the guys too. No, it's just, there's no magic, whatever. It's time and all that. And, you know, I felt like I had put in the time and wasn't getting there. And eventually, you know, with certain little tips and stuff, without being, trained in person, it's even more tough, right? So there's courses out there available you can go to. I went to a metal shaping or a English wheel course. So not necessarily metal shaping per se. The guy didn't know a lot of the processes that I do. He's not a power hammer guy, but he was really good on an English wheel, and I learned some cool stuff from him there. So,
what's an English wheel?
that's the wheeling machine. So you put in different radius dies on the bottom.
Oh, okay.
And it's got the big wheel on the top metal, and you're rolling the.
Oh, that's
panel.
a roll to twist it or turn it or whatever.
Yeah, you're putting in like
or the
shape
bend or
shape to it. Yeah. So yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
And then you can, put a rubber band around the top one, so then you're only putting it in one direction versus this way too. So there's times where you would need that. I don't really have something to demonstrate on here because it's all pretty much compound, but yeah, it's growing pretty good, I would say. Yeah, there's lots of resources out there, lots of courses available, but fuck, you're paying a lot of money to go to those too. One guy quoted me $6,000 American for a course, and I'm sitting there going, okay, well, that's a fucking new machine, so yeah, no, get fucked. Yeah, I won't be coming to see you for that.
Yeah.
So.
Not when you could spend that money on the machine.
Yeah.
Learn, however, and
that's more for a guy that's a company that you're working for will send you off to him or whatever. Fine, but not for a guy like me. I just can't justify it.
Yeah.
So. And then there's a couple of courses I was supposed to go on, but I'm having a little problem with some passport issues, so I wasn't able to get out there to it. But eventually we'll sort something out.
Yeah.
I do want to go see a certain guy in Vegas there and get some one-on-one with him.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So
nice.
That's the plan.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. But there's lots of other shit that has to happen first. Like, my youngest needs to get out to Disneyland. Right, so there's a certain age you want to do that by, and other things are priority, family and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, with the family, right? And Disneyland, that's the one in California or in Florida?
Yeah, either or. We're going Disney World's in Florida, Disneyland, California.
Yeah.
Like we took before my youngest was born, we took the oldest to Disneyland.
Nice.
So maybe Disney World's the one we go to. Who knows?
Yeah. I went to both actually.
Okay.
With no kids. Right. Went there. Well, it was, it's a pretty good time. I think in the one in to Disneyland, they gave us all kinds of discounts because of our service.
Oh.
My service, right? So they gave me I think like for me it was 25% the cost or 50% off. And then paid so much for the spouse or whatever, but it was really cheap. Or I think maybe mine was completely free. Like a 3-day pass was free.
Nice.
Then of course the the Marine World or whatever it is. What's that? Marine Land is the one in Toronto. What's the one in?
Probably Marine World.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Sea World or something.
and that was free, too, as well. And I think, and then same like say for your kids, that'll be a discount, stuff like that. I think. I tried to do it in at the one in Florida and didn't get much of a deal there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
fuck, maybe California is the one to go to anyway.
Yeah.
Get some In-N-Out burger and Roscoe's chicken and.
Yeah, I don't know what Roscoe's, but had the In-N-Out.
Fuck, it's good with Roscoe's.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you get, which one, do they both have Universal Studios, or is it just Florida has Universal Studios?
I don't know.
Whatever?
I don't know.
That was all right too. Went to that one as well. But, yeah. So it's been kind of, it's been nice going over it again in a way, right? For things, we don't always remember at the time. And even sometimes, like, kind of notice, or say, talking about stuff beforehand sometimes kind of brings up some of the memories, or you kind of remember.
Yeah.
So, like, we're talking about the recce course and everything, and man, I had a big loss of memory there, right? And then when you start thinking about it, then you slowly some of it comes back anyways, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of nice because, it kind of sucks when you can't remember much of your time here, there, or, a lot of things I remember, or I forget, right? And I don't know, some of it with mefloquine or not, but, and then talking about it, and it all jogs memories, and
yeah.
So, same, just to say about the 4 that were lost, that led to you being a battlefield replacement, right?
Yeah.
For Mark Leger and Ainsworth Dyer, right? And Nathan Smith and Green, what was his first name again?
I didn't know him on that.
Yeah. Because I keep kind of getting his first name wrong, mixing it up, but yeah. And they were all guys that served with, right? Yeah. Guys that I was in the same company with at a certain time, right? But if by say I did the run for the wall, and then they say, say their name, tell their stories, remember them, right? So by telling their name, telling a story, right? They're being remembered, right? Which is nice.
Yeah. I have told myself at my darkest times that, you gotta live for those that can't. So those that didn't make it, we owe them a good life. We owe them to live the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
And that's what we owe them, and that's what we got to remind ourselves. My kids will know their names. My kids will know all about them when they're at an appropriate age.
Yep.
They're going to hear all about them, and they're going to know their name.
Yeah.
And how important they were to me. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I completely agree, right, on we owe it to them to live our best life.
Yeah.
Right? That do you think they want us sitting at home in the basement, not coming out, drinking ourselves to sleep every night, becoming a train wreck, fucking our family up, screwing everything up, right? Or do they want us, right, to be out there and living life like we deserve to, right? Not sitting in the basement, not,
But you adapted and overcame for so many years for the government.
Yeah.
Why not do it for yourself and your life?
And for them.
Yeah. and they don't have the opportunity to, it's just another reminder of what you need to do.
Yeah.
Because they don't have that option. They
Yeah.
weren't given that option.
Yeah. And
you
it,
know?
because we're losing so many more than what were actually lost in the war,
Yeah.
right? I really, if they track the suicide part anywhere close, I think we'd be shocked to see the numbers, right? I think.
Yeah. Or even the guys that,
Or attempted,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
the numbers there got to be.
talk themselves out of it or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's so many guys that aren't even willing to talk. They're not willing to admit it.
Nope. They just keep trying to suck it up.
Yep.
And keep going.
Yeah.
And then they're at risk, right? Because
Yeah.
they're not say, trying to avoid this or avoid that, or trying to.
Like one slip up might be a
major.
You might have been sober for fucking 6 years, but you just had that slip up, and now
It's all
it
downhill.
hits you hard,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah.
That's what I worry about for some people, and I'm not naming names of the people I talk to. That's they've talked to me in confidence,
Yeah.
and
That's their story.
they like what you're doing, and they feel like their voice would be a strong one, but they just don't have it in them to do that.
Yeah.
So,
Nope. It's not, not everybody is in that place, right? Once from getting out to like today, there's been a lot of destruction, and then there's been a lot of, trying to heal, trying to fix things, trying to get better,
yeah.
trying to improve oneself, right? Self improvement, right? Say like I went and took the mental health first aid course, did that course in Moose Jaw, took another, course in up in Prince Albert with the River Valley Resilience Retreat. I forget what that one was called. That was another good one, right? All different things to, I took mental health first aid to help if anything, to help myself. And then if I'm lucky, I might be able to help others, but more,
Yeah.
looking after myself on that part. So, back to when we're destructive and going to the bar, looking for fights.
Yeah.
Right?
Being an asshole, walking around town drunk, being a fucking dickhead.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm probably still a dickhead in many ways, or, in whatever ways, but, or we have our moments.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, try not to do stuff sometimes, especially, when your truck is deckled up or whatever, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But sometimes we're still who we are. Or
Yeah.
we have to deal with those issues, and then, right?
Yeah, it's funny you say that too. Like, I stayed away from guys too that like we served with for years and years, just because of the way I felt about shit, and just like it's just better for me away. And then somewhat recently, reconnecting with guys like yourself and a few others, and actually getting together with them in person and having the chats with them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it was good for the soul, and that's what I was away from, right? I was away from all of that for years too, and it didn't help me.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I figured it would be worse if I stuck around, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that wasn't the case. Getting back to it actually allowed me some time to kind of, it pointed me in the right direction to, things are good, and what we had was good, even though, for me, there was things that caused it to end badly, I would say, right? Like the loss of friends overseas, stuff like that. But, it was,
it's good to reconnect and to get that back, even to, even though we're not the same people we were back then.
And
right?
we don't need to be.
Yeah. Right. Maybe we were tough back then, but now I'm a bit of a. At times, I can be a fair weather rider, right? Or I don't want to. I don't want to go walk in -5 or -10 sometimes.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah.
But it's important to get out with the guys or with the people you serve with and talk, because a lot of times I think we're our biggest support system, right? Are the people that you serve with.
Yeah.
Right? People reaching out and saying, "Hey, man, I think are you all right? You need anything?" Or in my driving all across the country, a lot of people have let me stay. Had me over, let me stay.
Yeah.
Right. People are helping there, or people want to get involved and help others, and yeah. Lots. And what I also say about my page is to say, when I share a picture of you and I or whatever, then all the guys are like, "Hey, man, I haven't seen Scotty in so long," or people are like, "Fuck, I haven't seen that guy in 20 years." Or,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Who's that old
So
fart?
sometimes I'm just sharing the picture, and it's really it's a for others to see too, right?
Yeah.
Because if you think about how many people you probably know, right? The numbers are probably So say for 8 years in a battalion of 700 people,
Yeah.
and you almost know everybody in the company within your, that first year or whatever with the company.
Yeah.
Then then you're moving companies. You're going to go to recce platoon. You go here. New people come in. People get out, and you're learning new people again. And then by the time 8 years, you probably know 1,500, 2,000 people, right? Of all the people that went through the battalion or more, right? And that's your, can be part of your support network.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But, because the numbers are pretty high.
Yeah.
Right? When you think of how many people.
Yeah.
Right,
Really,
really.
for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Being back there too, like when walking the base and all that, I got dropped off at the shacks just so I could fucking do the walk and all that and just check things out. And it was good for me to be like, yeah, you're in a good place now and all that, and have some memories or whatever too, right?
Yeah.
And I was kind of built up by the tampons in the washroom and all this stuff, like being, the deportments for shit and all that, like you're going to flip a lid and all that. And like, I'm big on the deportment. It's important, right? Like you're having members of a team. They all got to be the same. There's a reason for it, right? Like if you want that kind of individuality, you earn it
Then
by
you should go
going to the
somewhere
special
else.
forces, right?
Yeah.
So, like it should be an earned thing and all that kind of stuff. And let's not break up the military. But this is just a small little storm that we're weathering. It's going to change with the change of government, and all this shit's going to be out the window again. It's going to change. But when I was there and walking the lines, I'm seeing some solid fighting men and women doing their thing. Yeah. And in some ways, a lot of things never changed. And I looked around and just kind of, gauged what I was looking at, and I saw some soldiers. I saw some fighting soldiers, and it wasn't as bad as what I allowed my mind to think it was. Yeah. And you know what? They got it covered. And there's a lot of the older guys there that were the younger guys when I was in. Yeah. And they want that change too, and they're waiting for it, and they're there, and they're standing there stout, and they're looking sharp and hard and fucking ready to do their thing as a soldier, and everything's good. Yeah. Yeah. It was good. So. Yeah,
because sometimes, so you think everybody's going to have blue hair, or you think...
It's a couple of tits maybe, and that's about it.
Yeah. So...
Like, there's an officer with a man bun. And I'm like, you fucking moron. But, you know, all that shit will change and fuck.
Yeah. As it has before.
He's had to go through the same hoops to get there.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. But obviously appearance shows everything, right? You know, a sharp, well-dressed group of soldiers stands out, right?
Well, especially when our enemies are watching and, you know, our allies are already upset at us because our government's just not spending the money they're supposed to. Fucking liberals are the problem for that.
Yeah.
You know, and enough's enough. Everyone's had enough. It's time to fucking pay up. Look at the state of the world right now.
Yeah.
Right? Our enemies are fucking taking advantage of it.
The world's getting worse.
Yeah.
And our army is getting worse.
Yeah.
Or was getting, you know, I'd say it improving, but now. But I mean, some of the rules and shit that they put on.
There's a lot of work to be done to get back to where we need to be.
There's a reason why everybody's uniformed. There's a reason, all of it, right?
Yep.
It's not about individuality. It's about teamwork, right?
Yeah, you can't have the individuals. They're the ones that didn't fucking work out.
Yeah.
I mean, even a fucking sniper is not an individual.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So, that they lost sight of that shit. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because the guy that made it okay was actually a very, very intelligent infantry officer. You know, that made those deportment rules. Like I had a lot of, I still want to say I have a lot of respect for him, but he made a lot of bad choices that makes it hard to defend him in public amongst other people that I sit down with. But he was there for me in a time overseas, actually, where he saw me doing something and just checked up on me and had a good chat with me, and it was a needed one. And I feel like he told some people to just keep an eye on me, and it never amounted to anything other than that. So I have a lot of respect for him.
Nice. Yeah.
It was general error, right? But
yeah.
Yeah, with what he was, it kind of, there's two decisions that just weren't really good, and it was just because of the powers that be needed that to, you know, the liberals needed that to carry on with their agenda, and he, you know, who am I to tell him what to do? But I myself would have publicly ended my career by saying this is everything we stand against. So,
yeah.
But I mean, maybe he thought he could still do things while just maybe making a couple of, like, it was a sacrifice that he had to make to ensure other things happen. Who knows, right? Like, he is that smart. There may have been reasons for it, and he's just being the scapegoat like all military guys tend to be, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's things to look at before you pass judgment, I think.
Yeah.
And he has earned the right to at least have, and I mean, I've been pretty upset at him for it too, right? But I think he's earned the right to at least have his reasons why. So.
Yeah. Yeah. He, you know, what he's done, he's earned the right to then say and do things, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, fuck, like the whole forced vaccines and all that shit, that's it's very hard for me to defend him on that, right?
That one. And when he was recommended not to.
Yeah.
Right? That it was not going to stand legally.
Yeah.
And still go ahead and do it.
Like, I'm not going to sit there and defend him on that. I'm defending him on other things. Yeah. And maybe there is a reason that we'll find out later why he had to do that to, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? But that's not who I feel he is. That was kind of like a what? But yeah, I won't really speak on it really, other than I owe him a lot, and I had a lot of respect for him as a battalion commander. So.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I had him as a company commander, or had him in B company, I think. And then, well, I did have him in B company, or I was in his company. Back when I was in, what platoon was I in there? 5 maybe, or 6? Can't remember. But, yeah. Definitely put in the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yep. Yep, for sure. Any other any other points you can think of, or any?
There's always tons after, right? But no, I just, I appreciate what you're doing, and it's helping out people even more so than you know, and the people suffering in silence, maybe they'll tell their side one day, or
Yeah.
who knows? But I'm still friends with people that see differently, and whatever, it is what it is. They don't understand. Maybe they don't, or ever will, or whatever. But just watch the fucking first video, and some things will stand out.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
pretty hard to argue with anything that doctor says at all, and he's all facts, and there's some
That's
wrong things that were done. So get out there and listen to the podcast, and and look into things that are going on with yourself, and anyone listening, look after yourself, and reach out
if you need
reach out
help,
to the
right?
network, and we're all here and willing to help.
Because 10 chances to 1, nobody's gotten out and not had, hasn't had a moment, haven't come unglued, haven't.
Yeah.
But we always think it's only us, right, that are suffering like this. So then it's like, well, I don't. But if you knew, like, every other guy, every other lady is having the same issues that you're having, right? Then it's like,
And in this, I mean, it was big in the civvy world, even where men couldn't talk or whatever, and you got, that was a big thing. Well, times it by 100 or 1,000 when you're talking about combat infantry soldiers, combat arms.
yeah,
that atmosphere, like it's even more so. But the guy will plug your wound. So if you need the help, he's gonna plug your emotional wound or whatever you got going on, your mental wound, whatever, right?
yeah. And say when we had a problem, we would go get it sorted, or would go to MIR, or we, even to
Get
say
belittled for being there.
Yeah, that could happen too.
Yeah.
But I mean, say if you were missing mission essential kit, you would write a thing up to try to get it, what your deficiencies are.
Yeah.
Try to get what you need. You would, if you broke down, you would send a message for them to come get you, right?
Yeah.
All of it happens now, right? I need help now. The military comes, gets your vehicle, gets you, does whatever, right? But then when you're out, nobody's coming.
Yeah.
Nobody's. So what if you broke down on the side of the road outside of Whitehorse, right? Nobody. You're on your own.
Yeah.
Do it yourself, right?
Yeah.
And when the years that you spend in the military, where it's like, no, man, we're all one team. We're gonna, if I call you, he's coming. But now you call Buddy, and it's like, sorry, I got a dentist appointment tomorrow. I can't give you a ride. I can't do this. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But, if we reach out, you don't know if you're going to get help or not, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't ask, you're not going to get it.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure,
Yeah.
right? But, yeah, it's a lot harder being out, right?
Yeah.
It can be. And just on that note, to say we don't always, you can't, the help's not there. And that's what I'm noticing too, even to say you can do all the stuff for somebody, and then when it's your turn to ask them, it's like, sorry,
Yeah.
I can't do it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's we get a certain mentality in the military, and then when we come out, that mentality doesn't necessarily apply.
No,
right?
it leaves you to get taken advantage of.
Or like for me and you to say, okay, let's get this job done. The sooner we get it done,
yeah,
the sooner we can go put our feet up and
Yeah.
relax. But not everybody thinks that way.
Yeah.
Other people are like, I'm putting in the bare minimum to get by. I don't give a fuck whether we're finished this job today or Friday,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But,
Civil world's fucked.
yeah. Military guys are like, let's get this done now.
Yeah, no
The sooner we
complaining.
get it done,
Don't want
the
to hear
better,
you
right?
complain. None of that shit.
Yeah. We're all sitting here. That guy's still working.
Yeah.
Everybody shifts over, gives a hand,
Yeah,
and it's done, but not.
exactly.
Like,
Yeah,
really? You couldn't give me a hand?
yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, civil world's fucked, man.
Yeah. Yeah, we're all in the military. It's all about the team.
Yeah, yeah. That's one of the harder parts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then, you're when you get out, then you're not part of the team. You're not part of the purpose. So then it makes it that much harder. You got no purpose. You're not part of a team. You're sitting at home in your basement, and that's all you have.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
So, but if you force yourself out, amazing things can happen.
yeah,
If you force yourself and push yourself, right, then you learn how to make a tank,
yeah.
and you do all that, right,
Find something to channel your
Yeah.
energy into. And,
to save you from doing other things,
yeah, exactly.
right, like what you were doing before,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
See, now you got a family, you got a hobby, you got things to focus your mind on. Yeah. So, any last?
No, I mean, just reiterate to anyone out there struggling, fucking just if you're sitting there on thoughts and all that, you got to occupy your mind with something and get to it, right?
Yeah.
And try all kinds of different things. Fucking, there's lots of things to steer you away from that dark negative hole, and, and lots of people you can reach out to. So
Yeah.
don't do something stupid.
Yeah. Oh, reach out at least, right?
Yeah.
Try to make it till the next day.
Yeah.
Right. Try to make it to morning. Next day could be different.
Yeah.
Right. Next day could be better.
Yeah.
Right. The chances that it's going to be as shitty as today are less likely.
Yeah.
Right.
Even just goals forward, whether it's from A to B, a goal to the next meal is this meal is going to be that, and you got all the stuff in the fridge to make it, and it's going to be fucking really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Move towards that. Boom.
Yeah.
That's that goal. That's that time span. And you're learning to cope with shit, and then you're on to the next. Eventually, there's no room for that shit in your head. And reach out to guys and talk to guys and chat with guys and
Yeah.
figure it out.
Because most of the time, what I think is that anything that helps, or, most of the time we're finding out from our friends what works, right? Or what can, you can go to Can Praxis to an equine therapy, or, say COPE, Couples Overcoming PTSD Every Day. I think what that one was called. Not that I'm but I mean, there's so many things, and then it's always by talking, right? Oh, what do you mean there's a equine therapy place? Or what do you mean? You mean I can go out, do the Wounded Warriors, or do Soldier On and get equipment, right? To get active and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we find out from our friends. Because when you get out, like, the battalion doesn't go, here's all the resources you can use now.
No, fuck no.
Right?
Yeah.
Here's what happens if your wheels fall off. Call the VAC helpline or do whatever, right?
Yeah.
And that we're learning from all from our friends. That's what I definitely find, right?
Yeah.
Because then it's like, oh, really? What's that course? Or where's that?
Yeah.
What do you need to do that, right? To go on this, or, I think I was talking with somebody else the other day, talking about the education grant, right? How you can use that money towards whatever, right? But so many so many things, and we don't learn it if we don't talk, right? If you're
Yeah.
sitting at home, you don't know about the benefits, right? Even to say, when it comes to cannabis, say, how many people know, people that aren't connected within the community might not know that it's covered by Veterans Affairs, right? Or different, even to say, to go into a treatment center, right? That Veterans Affairs is going to cover it, or different ones, right? So there's a lot of things out there for us. We just got to find out about them or point them out to other people that are struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because man, there's more than you can shake a stick at, I think, that are suffering. Right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. A lot of friends, right? People you don't hear from, and then hear about them later, or hear from them later.
Yeah.
So, to hear some feedback, to say people have talked to you and said, or like what I'm doing, or, because sometimes I don't, because then you have that bad day and you're like, no, man, I'm fucking crazy. Nobody's going to want to, why do people follow me? It's, sometimes I just think, no, man, it's, why do people even talk to me? Right? I feel like sometimes I'm pretty crazy, high on the scale, right?
Yeah.
And then other times, then I feel, oh man, it's like, yeah, I'm making a difference, or I'm doing something, and then as quickly as that, I can feel like I'm not. But, so thanks for sharing that, because
no, absolutely. There's just so many guys that are institutionalized that way, and I'm still one of them, right? The only difference is I'll voice it and say that, something's going on. I don't really give a fuck who doesn't like it. I'm not too hard to find if you don't like what I'm saying,
Yeah.
But I'm not out here sitting on anything or claiming any kind of funds from the government for any of this. But you listen to the facts, and if you got that much of a problem with it, then come fucking find me. I got no problem.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, there's a lot of people that are just suffering in silence because of that mentality.
Yeah.
And I really don't fucking care. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I don't care if someone has a problem with it. Come fucking find me. I don't care.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't much care, right, either. Like, people got problems.
Yeah.
With me or not, or whatever, At a certain point, you let it all go, and really, what does it matter?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
what does it matter if this person doesn't like you, or what does it matter if this person doesn't? Does it affect your day-to-day life?
Exactly.
No.
Yeah.
Then why? Why would I even worry about it, right?
Yeah.
And but
the fact is that if anything, this so far is ensured that it ain't going to happen again, right?
Yeah.
It's off the shelf. They're not giving it to them.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be allowed to, because they're going to be held accountable for it.
Yeah.
And that's already a huge leap, and that happens because of stuff like this.
Yeah.
People voicing it.
Yeah.
People threatening, and them saying, fuck, we don't want to go down there. And they've been forced to pull it off.
Yeah.
And they won't be able to use it anymore. They're now accountable. They pulled it off for a reason. So even that alone, you pulled it off. You're not giving it to guys. That means you acknowledge that there's something fucky with it.
Yeah.
You're guilty.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
You acknowledge. You just acknowledged.
Yeah.
There you go. That's all you need to know. If it was a big fucking farce, then why the fuck are you not getting it anymore? So fuck you.
Yeah.
That's what I got to say about all that shit.
Yeah. And, they made every single person that was in Somalia, try to, they pointed it at the individual, right? Any issues, they made it like it was the individual that did it, right? When they're the ones that gave us the fucking drug.
Yeah.
forced it on us, forced us to keep taking it.
Probably made you sign waivers, but you fucking made you take
We
it.
were supposed to sign a waiver, but never.
Yeah.
Because they never gave it to us. They didn't care. It wasn't about there was nothing about the drug trial at all, because they weren't asking questions. They weren't, whatever. It was just to take the medication, right? And was there, why did they make us do a trial on a drug when there was already a drug available for an anti-malaria?
Yeah.
Right? That doxycycline was already available. But then they did a drug test that had 24, 28 significant incidents in Somalia.
Mm-hmm.
And then to point the finger at the soldiers that took the drug as being the problem and not the drug that they fucking forced on us.
That's easiest to do.
Right?
Yeah.
And it'd be nice to see it swing around and then come back and then put the government under the microscope for the administration of mefloquine to the Canadian forces, right?
Yeah.
Right. Under a drug trial, right? Under whatever pretense they tried to use, right? Like, so 92, 93 coming out in Somalia, leading to 2015, the drug is a black box, a drug of last resort.
Yeah.
Right? That was in 2015, and in 2017, the Canadian forces were still given the drug.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where's your healthcare system trying to prevent things happening to the soldiers?
Yeah.
Right? People hallucinating in Somalia, and they're still hallucinating in Afghanistan.
They're afraid
20 years later.
Afraid to acknowledge it. They let it go too long, and now it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Can't acknowledge it, because then you're now, you ban it, and you're now agreeing to everything that they've been saying for years.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And that's what the government does. So you either drink their juice or you don't, and I choose not to.
Yeah. Yeah. Never again.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
I'm
man.
not drinking the juice they're trying to sell now. I'm not, none of it. No,
Nope.
I see through it all.
Got no time for that no more.
Nothing. Nope.
Right.
Don't answer where I'm going. The cops, where are you going? It's none of your fucking business where I'm going. It's that simple. I'm not playing the game no more.
Yeah.
I can be in the car with my kids. You get asked where I'm going, where I'm coming from. None of your business. It's none of your business where I'm going. I'm not answering that.
Yeah.
So you can get fucked.
Yeah.
I'm not playing this bullshit anymore.
Yep. Yep. They've been forcing their bullshit on us for far too long.
Yeah.
Right. Getting away with stuff that they shouldn't.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Forcing shit on people that, they weren't really allowed to, right?
Yeah.
Because to say that then the CDS was told by the JAG officer that wasn't legal for them to fucking force it on them.
Yeah.
And they still did it.
Yep.
Because they don't care. They'll just say, "Oh, sorry," right? Sorry, it was our operational commitments is why we chose to do what we did. Right.
Yeah.
They'd rather just do what they want to do, and then they do it, and then at a certain point they'll have to apologize or
and by then he'll be retiring or whatever.
Then half of the people will be dead by the time they pay up.
Yeah.
Or by the time they settle this, or by the time they decide, instead of trying to help the troops now.
Yeah.
Right. So should be interesting to see where this goes, anyways. In the next little bit, but anyways.
Okay, man.
Thanks a lot,
on, brother.
For
thanks for having me.
For being on the podcast. Man, thanks for your service, right? And thanks for it was an honor to serve with you in the battalion.
I've seen.